for someone who may be struggling, and clearly it may not be everybody, but just somebody who is struggling with life's uncertainties and seemingly unfair treatment, that your release, your breakthrough, your liberation, and your discharge can be found in your faith.
All right.
If you've been looking for other methods of release, I dare you to stop searching existential resources and look at the power that rests within you. And it really is nothing more than the power of your faith. Faith, which is one of the most agonizing aspects of Christianity, if exercised, will move you from a position of doubt and disbelief to expectation and anticipation. Faith, if you really work it and work it right, it will shift you from the mental weariness of ambiguity to what I like to call the cerebral certainty of absolutely. Faith, my brothers and sisters, if you implement it as a daily routine in your life, not just once a week, but every single day, it has to be a daily routine in your life, it will change the hymn of circumstance that you sing. Faith digs deep inside the soul and manifests an attitude of probability and prospect, even though they are surrounded by nothing but troubles and tribulations. For this reason, I heard the writer when he said that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So if we are to understand faith within the proper context of our lives, it suggests that when faith is activated in optimism, then God takes your optimistic outlook and uses it as an opportunity to bring into manifestation that thing or the things that you have been unwavering in your optimism about. I would not be fair in this proclamation if I did not caution you that everything you are optimistic about is not going to come to pass. And for that reason, that would really be a shouting key, because there are some things that we hope for that if it were not for God's grace of not giving them to us, that thing that we hope for really could have wiped us out. It's like I learned a long time ago, everything that may feel good to you ain't good for you. And it is good to know that we serve a God that will withhold the things we think we want for the purpose of saving our lives. So everything you're optimistic about is not going to come to pass. However, if it is God's will, if God has lodged that something for you on his things to do in your life list, then you better rest assured that sooner or later it will come to pass if only you exercise your faith in God. You've got to work on it, man. You have to work on it. It's not something you can just do half the year and not form the other half. You must exercise your faith in the Lord. Let me remix it for you. Let me remix it. You've got to fully trust in the Lord. And it has to be trust in me. You have to fully trust in the Lord. And here's when it really is important. Even when things look bleak and dim in your life, without any signs of recovery. You've got to put all of your trust and all of your faith in the Lord. And speaking about trusting and having faith in the Lord, we are called to the attention of a centurion who was a Roman officer, a Gentile, if you please, in Capernaum. This centurion, whose name was not important enough to mention in the text, yet his story of faith provides us with the backdrop for faith. This centurion, a man who could have found justification in loathing the Jews because he was a Gentile, yet in Luke chapter 7 verse 5 it says that this centurion loved the Jewish people and their nation. This centurion, this Roman officer that could have been wicked, vicious, and evil to his servants, yet we read in our text that he had compassion for one of his ill servants. This centurion, a member of the Roman citizenry, where Roman pride was exalted and they worshiped in pagan temples. This centurion whose people the Jewish community ostracized. This centurion who could have used all of his power and authority to call on the country's finest physicians. This centurion, Jesus says, has faith like he'd never seen before in the entire country and throughout all the people of Israel. What would compel Jesus to make such a bold comment about a Gentile? It was not clandestine that many Jews thought Gentiles to be comparable to dogs. The day has changed, but the game remains the same. Somebody missed it. Let me give you some information before celebration. It was not out of order for the Jews to feel that Gentiles were dogs. Let me take you to the book. If you remember the story, if you're familiar with the story, with the woman that wanted Jesus to do something for her child. And Jesus said, let the children eat first, and I ain't giving them to the dogs. And he called her a dog because of their relationship between Jew and Gentile. Y'all will read that a little bit on. Hence why I said the day has changed, but the game remains the same. It's not a secret that many who have been kissed by the natural tanning bed of the sun since birth are still comparable to dogs by those who suffer from a lack of melanin in their skin. It's not a secret. Here we find Jesus in verse 10 explaining to those who follow him that this Gentile's faith is favorable and replicable, not only because he had compassion for his slave, but because of the centurion's partial faith. Now, let me throw something in here for free. And also let me just throw it in neutral for a moment, because someone needs to see the relevancy of the centurion's faith. The centurion's partial faith made room for Jesus to accept the invitation of the centurion to heal his servant before the centurion even asked. Let me back up and say it again. The centurion's partial faith made room for Jesus to accept the invitation of the centurion to heal his servant before the centurion